Welcome to the Lead at Home podcast, where every episode is about learning how to develop our parenting skills to achieve the best for our children. Here are your hosts, Sarah Franco and Jayla Gaines.
Hey, welcome back to the Lead at Home podcast. We've got Jayla Gaines and Sarah Franco coming at you here, and we're so excited to be with you today. And today on the podcast, we're going to be talking about to lead in being teachable. Mm-hmm. And, that's one of those things I think, gosh, we teach our kids constantly from the moment, you got little Luca, you're teaching her how to walk right now, probably.
Constantly, yes.
I was just teaching Caleb how to drive a car.
Wow.
Kids are being taught a lot all the way through.
Yeah.
I got to admit, as a wife, I've probably tried to teach my husband a few things along the way, whether or not I'm supposed to, I don't know.
Yes.
But what does that look like for us to be teachable, Jayla?
Mm-hmm. So from my notes here, I just wrote that being teachable means accepting that we need to be taught and admitting that we will spend the rest of our lives in a state of being in progress.
I like that.
And I just think it helps me give myself grace, because I know that, I'm not always going to have the answers right away. And, it might take me a couple tries. I might need to seek counsel from someone else. But most importantly, it's just that willingness to humble yourself and realize, there are people who have been through so many things before you, something that you could currently be going through, and they might know how to handle it better, or they maybe didn't handle it properly. So now they can tell you what not to do.
Right.
I know from my own experience, my own marriage, Jordan and I were separated for about a year and a half early on. And our relationship with one another was just not in a good place. We weren't understanding one another. He had his own set of ideas. I had my own set of ideas, and neither one of us was willing to compromise for the other. And so we went to a marriage counselor, and he sat us down, and he basically was just like, "You're doing so much talking, but are you listening? Are you learning from your spouse? Because your spouse is telling you exactly what they need, but are you willing to open your ears? Are you willing to be taught by them?"
Yeah.
And that's when I was like, I don't think I've been willing to do anything, willing to be taught at all.
Right.
Because my way was the correct way.
Yeah.
And his way was the correct way in his eyes, and that was it.
Right.
And when we both, we started listening to each other, and things just started flowing together. And it was really cool to see, like, we were standing in our own ways because we just refused to be taught.
Yeah.
And it's really that simple, just allowing someone else to help you. And I think it also kind of lines up with, like, pride almost.
Well, yeah, because, pride, humility, they're polar opposites of each other.
Yes, yes. And it exposed some stuff in me, in my heart, that I was like, this isn't right.
Yeah.
And it was just such a growing point for both of us. And that was really cool.
It does. I mean, it does take humility to say, I'm not right all the time.
Yes, it takes so much.
Yeah. And I think to be able to say that and to be teachable, I think, it's interesting because at home, more than any other place, there's that place like you want to dig in your heels because you're with these people 24/7 all the time. You know them inside and out, whether it's your husband or your wife or your children. And I think it does take looking at, just the bottom line is this person and my relationship with them more important than being right? I think sometimes we have to really just weigh that and look at that. Even like for me, even with my children.
Yeah.
Because I think naturally being the adult
Yep.
It's like, I'm the authority, don't question, this is what goes. And there have been times, whether, especially when my children were younger, if I came down too hard on them, with discipline or something, that I would have to humble myself and go and apologize. And really let them know, like, I messed up. And I think that is part of being teachable, is to acknowledge that I did make that mistake. And it wasn't right for me to talk that way or act that way with you or treat you that way. But that can be really hard to come back and, circle back around like that, because we do want to be right. And, and I didn't necessarily grow up like that. It was, very much like things just, I remember when I'd be upset about something, I'd go up to my room and, you're just alone for a while, and then you come out and it's all done.
Yes. Same for me.
And so I think there is something to the adult in that relationship showing we can be teachable, or as a couple. And maybe being teachable means going to counseling and being willing. And I think that's a good thing to model for our children, for them to understand, like, we don't have all the answers. We don't get it right all the time because we're human. And so, I think it's just one of those things that we can keep growing in. Obviously, like we're doing in all of these different topics.
Yes.
But do you have any other final thoughts on that?
I would just say, in your life, if there's like any area where you feel like maybe you haven't been open to another way or a better way or a more effective way, just kind of breaking down some walls and softening your heart and, just being willing to learn something new and learn a different approach. I feel like it's always healthy to have multiple perspectives.
Yeah.
So that would be how I feel.
I like that. That sounds great. Well, we'll all keep working on that together.
Yes.
Right? As we lead in being teachable throughout our homes this week.
Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.